His powers won't work on me. No miracles, no worship, no fury or reckoning. He can give you nothing. That is all any god can give you. But they can take so much. Your will, your freedom, your glory. They give you nothing, but I can give you everything. So pray, Father. Pray to me. It was comical, the sights. To see a grown man reduced to such a whimpering mess, it's hard to tell whose cries were louder, the father's or the infant's. It certainly made keeping his composure even more challenging than before. There was no guarantee Valens' word could be trusted, of course. Surely this was a test from God above, the ultimate test. If he was found wanting, he would lose everything. He needed to stay strong. This was a test. Valens was bluffing. He wouldn't kill an infant. He's not that heartless. The pastor just shook his head at the thought, crawling towards his son and reaching out, still begging, still pleading for mercy, but receiving none. His stubborn refusal to accept the generous offer only further angered Valens, who pressed his foot down more, adding pressure to the child's cranium, causing it to cry louder. If you won't forsake your faith, you better pray for him to smite me. I want to feel his power flow through me. Destroy me! In his house, or I will kill this child and send him to the great beyond. Pray, Father, pray for your lives, depend upon it. This was one request the holy man could do. Hands held together tightly, he prayed harder and louder than ever before. Dear God, please forgive this man. Deliver unto him mercy and your kindness. Soften his heart. Save my son. Take this man if you must. I accept damnation as penance for asking you to smite him. But please, Lord, please, if you will not soften his heart, strike him down. Lord, please spare my boy. Finally, the old man could follow simple instructions after all. The more heartfelt his prayers became, the bigger the grin it put on the cruel king's face. Pray harder, Father. I'm still standing and I don't feel anything. Prayers move mountains. I'm one man. This should be easy for the one above all. Arms outstretched and ready, head held high, looking to the skies, waiting for that divine intervention, accepting that divine retribution. If there was a God, surely none on earth deserved his wrath more than Valens. He certainly made an effort in his life. In his long and bloody life, he's gone by a score of nicknames, but the only one that matters is the one that fits him best, the rapacious lichen. Like the namesake, he's strong and fast, tough beyond endurance and deadly beyond all hope. In a fight, there's none more ferocious. He's the darkest side of man, a shark cast in the semblance of humanity, made sentient and given a twisted sense of humor. The world for him is a simple place. Everything in it is his for the taking, his for the killing. That is, unless someone could stop him. His skills are like that of his animal half. He depends on his instincts, which for combat are superb. There exist few more fewer than he is. Valens has no enemies. He likes to say it's because he's killed them all. The pastor crawled to his son, trying desperately to raise the boot from his head. Tears, snot, blood all dripped from every orifice of his face as he continued begging, fighting and struggling in vain. Please don't do this, God. Please send your strength to spare my child. He is innocent. He deserves your tender mercy. Hearing this man sink deeper and deeper in despair excited Valens even more, and he applied more pressure. The infant's face grew hot and red as it screamed its cries, its voice becoming hoarse and raspy. Needless to say, Valens was thoroughly entertained at this point, pitting father and son against one another in a screaming match, and so far the child was winning. Gods, you say? Now that is an intriguing concept. How much longer do you think your God plans to wait before unleashing his fury? Just how many more thousands of lives must I take before he decides to strike me down? Open your eyes, old man. God's nothing more than a construct created by man to inspire fear and promote order. If you wish to see me struck down, use your own hands. Despite the cries of the infant and the weight it had placed on the father's heart, Valens heard no forsaken words escape that man's lips. Those prayers were not meant for his ears. It was amazing to him. He asked for one simple thing. Just words. Words that could spare a life and free a village. Shaking his head in disappointment, the game had grown quite boring by now, repetitive even. A shame, considering Valens was a man of his word, and a promise was a promise. As mercifully as the game began, it had to come to an end, in one crushing blow. There wasn't much effort to crush a newborn skull. The bones were so weak and brittle, soft even. There was resistance, to be sure, but no more than a watermelon or a ripe cantaloupe. Its skull fractured, At the temple first, spreading and cracking along the curvature of the skull. The infant's eyes fell red with blood, pooling from the corners and then dripping from the nose. While it cracked, the sound was like a boiled egg being rolled along a flat surface, crunchy and soft at the same time. Oh, how Valens loved that sickening sound. When that crack reached the other side, there was a moment where Valens could feel the tension in his foot, like walking over a river of ice and hearing it groan under your weight before it broke. Suddenly, he felt it give, and a second later, like tearing a cantaloupe open with your bare hands, that firm yet hollow sound, popping as the skull separated. Brains, blood, and bone fragments stuck to the face of the pastor, who was stunned and utterly destroyed. His heart couldn't sink lower if he fell to hell itself. It had broken. It was crushed as easily as his son's head. He looked up, wide-eyed, angry, distressed, damaged beyond all repair. Why? Why would you do this? He was an innocent. Smiling that wicked smile, Valens wiped his bloody boot on the man's clothes. Innocence has no meaning to those with power. It's another concept of man, a fabrication to satisfy the self-righteous. There is only the winner and the loser, the conqueror and the vanquished. Hell is something you carry with you, Father, not a place you go. Remember this as the day you lost your son, when you needed your God the most, when you prayed with all your heart and soul, and he abandoned you. You should have prayed to me. I would have stopped. I'm the only God you'll ever know. Defeated, the pastor sunk his head, cradling his child's rapidly cooling body and scooping the scattered bits of mush that was his face into one pile. Bored, Valens started to turn away when the pastor stopped, sobbing long enough to speak to him. I beg you, then. I pray to you, Valens, please kill me. I want to be with my son. Please, I renounce God. I forsake heaven and all eternal salvation. I can't carry this torment, please, God. God, keep Valens and me. His tormentor closed his eyes as if soaking in the despair and grief. Breaking people brought him such joy, especially those with such high moral codes. It was deeply satisfying. A sensation almost as good as an orgasm. After savoring the sorrow and devastation, he crouched down, cradling the man's withered face in his palms tenderly, attentively, almost as if he cared. As you walk through life, Father, there are two footsteps, yours and mine. When you struggle, there is but one. It is in these times, when life is hardest, when you need me the most, that I am with you, riding you, to make you stronger. Flinging the pastor's head to the ground, he smirked as he stood back up, snapping his fingers so the guards came to collect the broken man. Get rid of him, but let him tell everybody else how he failed them. I want them to see how powerless their faith is. Maybe the next ones won't be so stupid. Sir, they replied quickly. What of the, remains? Valens paused and thought for a moment. His congregation deserves something for his failure. A nice stew, perhaps. He laughed boisterously, thoroughly amused at his own cruelty, and just when the pastor thought his heart couldn't break any more, Valens found one last piece to stomp. Left alone, Valens retreated to the room behind the stage. A woman bound in chains sobbed uncontrollably on the floor. You didn't have to kill the child. Valens knelt and cupped her chin, pulling her towards him harshly. I know you think there's some good deep down inside of me. If only you could reach me. But then again, we have reality. I don't know why you're acting so surprised. I wouldn't resort to these measures were it not for you and your visions. Right now, those vampires think I'm licking my wounds, hiding and cowering as if they were something to fear.